So here are your next steps, and I am so excited for this because this is the real good part. This is when you get to start putting all those skills, all that learning into action. Attached to this video, I want you to pull out your next steps packet. This is a handout that you can download, print out, use however you want. Remember, if you can't find it, it's just attached to the video on that little down arrow along the side. You don't have to use this, by the way. It's just extra. I thought it would help you to have something if you wanted to print it out and save it. I love checklists, so I thought if you want to use it, you are welcome to. So here's what you're going to do. Here's how the adoption phase works. You are going to pick one specific habit to change. I want you to work on them one at a time. I've found in my own learning that when I tried to tackle 2 or 3 or all of the body language techniques at once, it was too overwhelming. I couldn't focus on all of them and also pay attention to the conversations I was having. So I want you to pick one specific habit change. I have made a skills checklist for you. That's what this handout is for you. So we're going to go through that in a little bit. But I want you to go through that skill checklist and check off the ones that you've already mastered. Some of these you have already. Leave blank the ones that you still need to work on, and you can actually rank them 1, 2, 3, 4 in order of the area that you want to work on them. Save the hardest for last. Once you've ranked your skill checklist and figure out what have you got mastered, what do you need to work on, then I want you to do on your own practice. So before you take it out into the field, work on practicing on your own. So for example, if we're talking about facial expressions, if reading micro expressions is one of the things you want to practice, you would start on your own by practicing them in the mirror, making sure that you memorize all 7, making sure that you can see them on your own face, practicing with some of the practice videos we have on our website. That would be one way to practice at home. Another example is with launch stance. So if you know that you tend to cross your legs or cross your arms and have sort of low confidence body language, you can practice your launch stance at home. So when you're on the phone, you can do your launch stance. When you're walking around your house, your apartment, you can practice walking in that wide body language so that you begin to rely on muscle memory. So it isn't taking up a huge amount of your conscious brain. You're doing it without even thinking about it. Once you've mastered it on your own, then I want you to do third-party practice. For this, you can get a trusted friend. You can film yourself if you want to do that. I really recommend that you get a wingman or a wingwoman, and I have a wingman, wingwoman discount. If you have anyone who's willing to watch this course with you, I will give them a 50% off coupon because that's how much faster the learning happens when you have someone to practice with or who can help you when you're out and about. So the third-party practice is practicing with them one-on-one. So getting a friend, if you want to videotape yourself, you can also do this. You can videotape your phone calls. You can videotape yourself practicing. It's much better if you have a wingman to practice this on. That's where I want you to that's when you bring it from just your own space into doing it in front of someone else. Then lastly, I want you to practice it in low pressure situations. So once you feel pretty comfortable with the skill that you've decided to work on first, you practice on your own, you have a little bit of muscle memory, you maybe floated it in front of a trusted friend or wingman. Now I want you to get some low pressure situations on the calendar. This can be hanging out with friends, it can be seeing family members, it can be a social birthday party where you don't know many people, whatever feels low pressure for you, because it's much easier to practice these things in situations where your nerves aren't already running, and that way you get really good at it. So when you go on a date or you're working on it in a relationship, it's much easier because you've already sort of done a couple of practice runs. So here's that next step packet that's included for you if you want it. So here are the 4 steps that we just talked about. Looking through this list, practicing on your own, finding a third party, and starting with low pressure practice. Of course, feel free to print these or put them on your phone before your next night out. So here is that body language skills checklist. All I've done here, just to make it easier for you, is I've pulled out the body language skills in each section. So for Science of Attraction, we talked about recognizing and using the 3 different types of gazing. So recognizing when someone is power gazing with you, and then trying to use power gazing in your next powerful situation. So this could be one of the skills that you start with, practicing each of these 3 different types of gazing in their unique settings. We also talked about toe direction and to see who is paying attention to who. Recognizing and crossing into appropriate proxemic zones. So maybe one of the skills is space. And you can check off, yep, I've experienced people in each one of these zones, and I've practiced crossing across the room from someone's public zone right into their personal zone, and then maybe into their intimate zone with a touch. So I've broken down the skills just so that you can check them off. And the things that you're already familiar with, like let's say in the flirting fundamentals section, we talked about practice smiling upon approach. And let's say that you are very good at that. You absolutely smile, you're a good smiler, you can just check that one off because you got that body language skill mastered. I like to rank these. So when I first started body language, I put them in the order of what I wanted to do first, and then I slowly worked through them. It was almost like a game. I felt like I was checking them off, and it felt really good to know that I had not only moved through discomfort, but really into that adoption phase. So just go through these body language skills. You can also, if you forget, like let's say, for example, you forgot about practice using vocal confidence. You don't remember exactly what that was. The reason why I kept it like this is because just go back to the Psychology of Courtship lecture and watch that short lecture to figure out vocal confidence. Ah, that's using the lowest end of your voice tone and not using the question inflection when you speak. So I've broken it up like that, so it's very easy to go back and review, and you can go through these and check them off. And when you have them all checked off, I would love to hear from you so I can send you a surprise. The very last thing I included in your packet are some cheat sheets, and this is if you don't have time to review a video or you just want to quickly go through the tips that you learned. I made a cheat sheet for each section with question, tips, and bullets, very quickly summarizing what we learned and the things that you can do immediately if you can't remember exactly what you're supposed to do. So I made one for each different section that are just, you can keep them on your phone, you can print them out, whatever you want. I just made them so you have them as resources. The first one is how to know when someone's attracted to you, a couple questions you can ask yourself about their attraction level. Then I have some pointers on how to flirt non-verbally, the very basics that we talked about, including highlighting your fertility. And then I broke it down into specific bullets for men and women. And then, of course, I have some cheat sheets on courtship nonverbal tools as well as dating nonverbals. Now, I do want to remind you of my warning that I made here on lie detection. If you want to get more into lie detection, please don't stay at that amateur status. We go in depth on lie detection in our Power of Body Language course. We do actually a whole half day with practice videos and red flags, and we let you really dig deep into it. In addition to our cheat sheets on building connection nonverbally and getting physical nonverbally, I also wanted to talk to you a little bit about projecting confidence nonverbally. We talked about the importance of confidence during flirting, but I wanted to make a separate cheat sheet just on confidence because, yes, confidence is important for dating, but it's also essential for business situations and social situations. So here are a couple of bullets that you can do when you're in the moment and you need to project that strong confidence. I have a free course on increasing influence. Please take advantage of this offer. I don't know how long I'm going to keep it for free, but it's called the 7 Scientifically Proven Steps to Increase Your Influence, and it's absolutely free. So definitely take advantage of it. You can get it at scienceofpeople.com/awesome. Any of those sign-up links on the website will deliver you the mini course, and it's a really easy way to increase your influence, whether that's romantically, business, or socially. Plus, I have some real fun science in there that I didn't get to cover in this course. And if you want to learn how to use body language in business or take your nonverbal skills to the next level, please do check out our Power of Body Language course or our entrepreneur program, which is Body Language for Entrepreneurs. Okay, enough about that. Last minute tips for you. I didn't get to talk about what do you do in those few minutes right before you go on a date or when you're thinking about going out for the evening. First, I want you to consider doing a success routine before you go out. A success routine is something that I do. I teach it to all my students. It's something to get you pumped up before you go to a big night out. And that can be networking, that can be a date, that can be speed dating, that can be meeting new people at a party. It's doing things that get you in the right mindset. Here are a couple ideas that you can think about for your success routine. First, creating YouTube video playlists. I have a couple different playlists. One are funny videos that get me laughing and happy and in that real positive mindset. I have one that's like an inspirational YouTube video list where if I'm going to go out and speak or teach, I try to watch that beforehand. So you can pull videos, ask friends for suggestions on videos to get you in that right mindset. You can also use music, especially if you're driving places. A pump-up playlist, whether that's Rocky or it's your favorite songs that just get you in a really great mood. You can also do good deed exercises. So freerice.com is a website where you can do trivia and questions to donate rice to countries and people in poverty. You can also make donations. There's a lot of studies that say that doing good things puts you in a good mood because you're also doing good. So I always, for my birthday, donate on Kiva, and it's the best way to start the year. You can also phone a friend. If you have a supportive or funny friend that can kind of get you pumped up before you go out, keep them on speed dial. I also want you to consider getting rid of irritants. So irritants are things that just set us off wrong no matter how good our body language is. First, stop getting places late. No matter what you do, I would rather you get somewhere 20 minutes early, power pose, listen to your playlist, watch funny YouTube videos, because that irritant is very hard to make up for when you're rushed and sweating and your adrenaline is pumping. No matter how good your body language is, it's very difficult to overcome it. I also want you to throw away any uncomfortable clothes or shoes. So right now, add to your to-do list to go through your closet, go through your dresser, and get rid of anything that you don't feel great in. An example I have of this is I was doing interviews for a Science of People team member, and one woman I had looked at her resume, I spoke to her on the phone, she was awesome, but she came into the interview and I could not figure out, but she was just showing all this really negative body language. I kept seeing red flags, which is something we talk about in our lie detection course. And I was like, God, I didn't think that she was lying about this. And one of the things we talk about in lie detection is circling back to verify what you think might be a lie. So I asked her for a second interview, which usually I don't do. I didn't push her to the next round of interviews because I wanted to repeat the interview again because I just couldn't figure out what was wrong. Sure enough, she came in again and it was great. She was totally different. And I said to her, I'm really having trouble because last time you came in, you were just different. You were showing all these weird body language cues and red flags. And she started to laugh and she said, I had borrowed my roommate's shoes for the interview because I liked her heels. They matched better with my new dress that I'd bought for the interview. And they were a size too small. So every time that I shifted positions or I pressed my feet down to the floor, I felt like a pinching on the blister on the back of my heel. And I was like, wow, this is the perfect example of how something so small can impact your entire body language and mentality. So please get rid of any clothes or shoes that might be irritants that don't make you feel great. And my last minute tip for you is that if you can't snap out of it, don't go. And this is advice you won't often hear, but our emotions are contagious. And I talk about that in my free influence course, that when someone is charismatic, happy, that is transmitted to the people around them. And the same thing happens with depression. There's an amazing book called Depression is Contagious. And it talks about how when we feel something very strongly, other people around us feel it as well. So if you really can't snap out of it with your success routine, you've gotten rid of all the irritants, it's not worth going because you will not only not attract the right people, but you might make that emotion, that negative emotion, contagious. And just remember that when researchers observed flirtatious interactions at local bars, they found that looks didn't matter. A confident smile and direct eye gaze went out every time over good looks. So keep that in mind. It has nothing to do with your looks. Of course, I want you to look and feel fabulous, but really your confidence is all that matters.